This is Cactus 1539. Hit birds to lost thrust on both ends. We may end up in the Hudson.
When Dave Sanderson was here 5 years ago, he was in the Hudson River. After helping others, he was the last passenger to get off Flight 1549.
Throughout our lives, many of us will be tested by traumatic life experiences. These midlife jolts can either propel us or they can derail us, taking us back to square one. These jolts can create a lifetime of purpose, creating new relationships, new careers, new worldviews, and a clarity of your mission on Earth.
That jolt came to me on January 15th, 2009, when I became the last passenger off and survived the plane crash known as the Miracle on the Hudson.
You had a crew and passengers that did something that had never, ever been done in the history of aviation. One team, one goal, one miracle, and it gave people hope.
Dave Sanderson first dove 13 years ago in the middle of winter when his plane crash landed in the river. Then, this month, he did it again, but this time intentionally. Part of his new mantra about life: face your fears.
There's one thing I've learned in my life, is those who have the humility to prepare will have the confidence to execute when that moment comes. People who've gone through a traumatic experience like that often go into a depressed state, but I didn't. People kept telling me that I was going to have depression. People kept telling me that I was going to need therapy, but I didn't. I kept saying, what's the difference between me and them? I started putting the pieces of the puzzle together and figuring out how I could help other people who've been through a traumatic life experience.
It's part of a message that Sanderson has turned into a book, a magazine, and speaking engagements around the world. He calls it post-traumatic growth, facing your fears and getting back into the water.
The word my mom hated most in life was the word can't. If you grew up in our house and you said, I can't to my mother, she said, if you can't do it, you're going to do it. Her worldview was, if you can't, you must. We grew up in a house where can't wasn't a word. So I got one arm up, I felt somebody grab it. Got the other arm up, I felt somebody grab it. To this day, I do not know who these two gentlemen are, but they pulled me on one of those ferries. Now, in life's most defining moments, the key tenets of leadership come to the forefront: resourcefulness and the ability to make a decision. And once you have that, you will have what I call your own personal distinct advantage. How does 155 people who don't care about each other or know each other do something that had never been done in the history of aviation in 6 minutes? Two key things. Number one, you check your egos at the door. When you're going down in a plane crash, everybody's the same. Leaders check your egos at the door. Second thing is, like I said earlier, leaders lead people.
Everybody in this room will have a personal plane crash. It's going to be up to you whether you choose to grow or you choose to wither. Change is inevitable. Progress is not. Progress leads to growth, and when you're growing is when you're happy.
Right now, people are looking for people who, number one, can give them confidence, have competency, and have creative solutions. And that's what I do when I have the opportunity to speak for your organization. I share through my story of surviving a plane crash how I use those strategies and additional strategies to be able to create an opportunity out of that total uncertain time called a plane crash. I can do the same thing for your organization. If you invite me in to speak or consult with your organization like I do for many organizations, we'll go through an entire framework on how you too can create a pathway out of uncertainty and compress the decades it usually takes to get that outcome into days.